Welcome. Today we're going to be taking a look at Champions of Midgard. This is a 2 to 4 player worker placement dice rolling Viking adventure game. It takes place in the port town of Midgard, where the Jarl has just died, and now monsters, draugrs, and trolls are causing chaos throughout the town. You take the role of Viking leaders of your own clans, collecting resources and warriors, trying to defeat those draugrs, monsters, and trolls to prove that you are the best Viking leader and become the new Jarl of Midgard. How do you become the new Jarl of Midgard and prove that you are the best Viking leader? By having the most glory points at the end of 8 rounds. Now that we know what the winning condition is, let's take a look at the components setup and how gameplay works in Champions of Midgard. Now let's take a look at the components. You have your main game board, Viking leaderboards, worker meeples, color markers, trolls, draugrs, monsters, round marker, damage tokens, starting player token, economic and military market stall tiles, public longship tiles, private longship tiles, merchant ship cards, rune cards, destiny cards, journey cards, your warrior dice, swordsman, spearman, and axeman, wood resource cubes, food resource cubes, blame tokens, coins, favor tokens, and finally, your rule book. Now let's take a look at the setup. We're going to be setting this up for a 3-player game, which takes 11 steps. Step 1, place the main game board in the center of the play area. Step 2, place the round marker on 1. Step 3, separate, shuffle, and place the military and economic market stall tiles based on the number of players. In a 2-player game, you'll place 1 military and 1 economic. In a 3-player game, you'll place 1 military and 2 economic. And then in a 4-player game, you'll place 2 military and 2 economic. Since we're setting this up for a 3-player game, we'll place 1 military and 2 economic market stall tiles. Step 4, you will place your longships. You will place your small and large public longships on the main game board, and then you will place your private longships off to the left side of the main game board. The number of private longships that you place will be based on the number of players. Step 5, shuffle and place your cards. You are going to shuffle and place your rune, destiny, merchant ship, troll, draugr, journey, and monster cards. Step 6, create and place resource pools for food, wood, your warrior die, coins, favor, and blame tokens. Step 7, you are going to choose the starting player. Step 8, in reverse turn order, you are going to choose a Viking leader board. Step 9, each player will choose a color and take the workers and markers and then their starting resources, which are 1 food, 1 wood, 1 coin, 1 favor, and 1 swordsman die. Step 10, you are going to place color markers and remove workers. You'll place 1 of your markers on the score track at 0. You'll place the other color marker on your Viking leaderboard. You'll place 1 worker meeple in the general supply to be earned at the worker huts location. And then you will keep 3 workers in your personal supply, or 4 in a 2-player game. And then finally, step 11. Each player will be given 1 random destiny card. Now let's take a look at the gameplay. A game consists of 8 rounds. A round consists of 3 phases: setup, gameplay, and cleanup. Phase 1, setup. There are 7 steps to this phase. Step 1, reveal and place the top troll card. Step 2, place the top 2 draugr cards face up. Step 3, place journey cards face down in any empty spot. Since we're playing a 3-player game, we will not be using the leftmost column for monsters and journey cards. Step 4. Place one rune card face up on any empty spaces in the runesmith location. Step 5. Place a monster card face up on any empty monster space. Step 6. Reveal the top merchant ship card. And then finally, step 7. Add 1 to your blue locations in the center of the main game board. You'll add 1 Viking warrior to each of their locations and 1 food. Phase 2. Gameplay. During this phase, you will place workers, assign warriors, and resolve combat. In turn order, players will place 1 worker on an available space. These spaces are your circular locations and have a brown, blue, or red banner with the name of the location. Brown banners are resolved immediately, blue banners are resolved immediately and require setup in each round, and red banners are combat locations. Public longships are brown and red because they require you to pay any costs immediately and place the ship in a ship location at the bottom of the board. There are over 20 places to place your workers on the main game board. Now let's look at each of those spaces in detail. Starting with the hunting grounds. You will send warriors to hunt for food during the assign warriors and combat resolution. Next, fight the troll. You would fight the troll during the assign workers and combat resolution. Next, fight the Draugr. For each of these locations, you would fight the Draugr during assign workers and combat resolution. Runesmith. You would pay 1 and get 1 rune card. You may take either of the face-up cards or the top face-down card. The Longhouse. This is where you can take 1 swordsman and the first player token. The Market. This is where you can trade food, coins, and or wood in a 1-to-1 ratio. The Sage's House. You can look at 1 journey card and draw 1 destiny card. The Church. You can spend a number of coins to gain a number of favor tokens. The Worker Huts. You would pay money to get your additional worker. If you're the first person, you would pay 5, the second would pay 4, the third would pay 3, and the last one would pay 2. The Shipwright. You would pay the number of coins and wood for any of the private longships. Next are your public longships. Then we have your blue locations and your market stalls. For the blue locations in the center of the main game board, you would take the resources on these locations. The merchant ship card and the market stall tiles, you would pay the cost, if there are any, and then gain the resources. Then we would assign warriors. For any red locations, players would assign their warrior die to roll during combat resolution. Make sure that you are watching restrictions and your boat capacity. Restrictions are shown at the bottom of those enemy cards. For example, you cannot use any axemen for that card. For your boats, the capacity is the total number of warrior die and food on the boat. So if you're fighting the monsters, you would eventually have to feed your warriors. Then we would go into the combat resolution. Starting with the hunting grounds, you would roll any assigned warriors, and the number of hits is equal to the number of food tokens you would collect, up to a maximum of 6. Then you would move on to the troll. For the troll, draugrs, and monsters, the top left red number is the troll, draugr, and monster attack number, and the right number is their defense. So you would need to roll 3 hits or more to defeat the troll, and have a defense of 2 to not lose any of your warriors. And then at the bottom of the card are your rewards. So to resolve combat for the troll, you would roll the assigned warrior die. If you do not like the result that you rolled, you can spend a favor token to re-roll any of your die. Then you would check the defense and attack of the enemy card, making sure that you have an attack number equal to or greater than their defense number. And then you would take damage based on their red number. So for this troll, you would need 2 shields to block their attack, or you would end up losing a number of die. If you did not roll any shields, you would lose 2 die. If you rolled 1 shield, you would lose 1 die. If you defeated the troll, you would check the reward at the bottom of the card. You would then take the card into your personal supply, and if no one defeats a troll during a particular round, then every player would get a blame token. The more blame tokens, the more negative points you get at the end of the game. These points are located in the rulebook. Next, you have your draugrs. You would resolve them left to right, and you would follow the same combat steps as the troll. You would roll your dice, discard a favor token to re-roll any of your dice, check their defense and attack, discard any of your dice defeated, check the reward if you defeated the draugr, and then get the card. For monsters and your ships, you would first resolve the journey card, then you would feed your warriors, so in the rightmost spaces you would pay 1 food for 2 warrior die, and then you would resolve the combat against the monsters, just like the draugrs and the trolls. And then for a public longship, you would remove your warriors and place the longship back, and if it was a private longship, you would place it back in your play area. Keep in mind that combat will continue until either the enemy is defeated or all of the warriors that were assigned have been defeated. Once all the combats have been resolved, we would move to Phase 3, Cleanup. During the cleanup, you have 6 steps. Step 1, take your workers back to your play area. Step 2, you will discard any troll cards that were not defeated. And if a troll card was not defeated, you would give every player a blame token. Step 3, you would discard any undefeated draugrs. Step 4, you would discard any revealed journey cards. Step 5, you would add 1 coin to each undefeated monster. These coins can stack up. And then step 6, you would advance the round marker. And if it is round 8, you would go into the final scoring. So, gameplay and rounds would continue until the end of round 8. At the end of round 8, we would go into the final scoring. The final scoring takes 7 steps. First, before you start the final scoring, you want to separate your enemy cards by color. All of the troll cards are gray and their color does not matter. For the draugrs and monsters, you have yellow, red, and blue. Step 1 of the final scoring is your destiny cards. If you satisfied your destiny card, you would gain the glory indicated on the card. If you had the most, you would gain the left number, and if you tied for the most, you would get the lower right number. Step 2, you would gain glory for sets of enemy card colors. So for each set of red, yellow, and blue, you would gain 5 glory. Step 3, your rune cards. These are used or unused, and the amount of glory is located on the card. Step 4, private longships. You would gain the glory located on that particular tile. Step 5 are your favor tiles. You would gain 2 glory for each favor tile. Step 6 are your coins. You would gain 1 glory for each group of 3 coins that you have in your supply. And then finally, step 7, the blame tokens. You would go down glory based on the number of blame tokens that you have. After you completed the final scoring, the player with the most glory is the best Viking leader, becomes the new Jarl of Midgard, and wins Champions of Midgard.